Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Bannon or SB Prime. I'm the super moderator for Avatar The Last Airbender Online, and I'm here today with Avatar News Update 8. I'll split this into two, possibly three parts. It's going to be comic news. There is no core news, so that section won't be there. Site news, and I'll talk more about my channel. And then I'll do a little bit after. We start off with comic news once again, and there's tons of it again. I mentioned last time that Jin Yang was going to put up his presentation. He has. I'm going to put a link to that, the video that he put up on YouTube, where he talks about the behind the scenes. We see the pages, we see some of the kind of thumbnail sketches, and just kind of development of how the art went, and also some of the development in the character. He also talks a bit about stuff like how he came to work on the book, and it really just shows off how big a fan of Avatar he is. And for me anyway, it tells me that like the comics are in like safe hands with Jin Yang. This would have been massive news if it weren't for what kind of happened just before he posted this presentation online, and that is that Amazon put their preview up, but when they were putting up, they did something wrong where there's a surprise me section on the Amazon preview where you can just see a random page, and instead of it being a selection of like random pages, it was effectively the whole book that you could see. And loads of people like got in on this and saved their screenshots, me included, and so effectively we have like pretty much a half to 3/4 of the book now. So we know the main story of part 1, we have the cover of part 2 from Jin Yang's presentation, and the cover of part 3 in thumbnail sketches. I'm going to put a link to a post that was put up by Jenny SDCC, or Moonlit Shadow, on Avatar Spirit, I believe. Yeah, you may have heard that name before. It's because she was one of the people at the panel at San Diego Comic-Con, and if like it weren't for her and like other people who were at the con, we wouldn't have got any information from the core panel. So just an interesting thing there. She has organized all the pages and panels in what I believe to be a fairly decent order. Some of it may be a bit mixed up, but yeah, I'm going to post a few of the images throughout this video to go over my audio. I don't want to like spoil anything, because included in this leak was the final panels and much of the kind of story, so we effectively know the whole thing now. I'm going to talk a bit about the spoilers now, so if you don't want to know what happens next, I suggest skipping on a bit. I'm going to put a kind of timeline of when I start talking about it in the description, so you can kind of skip ahead. So here's the spoilers, and basically my opinion on the book so far, having read all the spoilers, is that I really like the way the story is going. The art is exceptional, as you can probably tell if you've seen any of it. It's just so clean, crisp, and characterful. I have some experience with other comics, so I've seen kind of like bad art before, but this is just some of the best, most colourful, great art I've seen. It's just so good from Gurihuru, the two artists that do this. Regarding the story, I really like the way it's gone. I've seen some negative reaction. Most of it's been positive, but there's been some negative reaction to the way Zuko is portrayed, the way Katara is portrayed. But in my opinion, it's all kind of in character. We don't know some of the kind of details that determine why they act like this, but in my opinion, everything has been in character so far. The main plot of this book, as I kind of mentioned, theorized in the last book, is to do with the removal of the Fire Nation colonies from the Earth Kingdom, and how that is a kind of conflict of interest, how it's sort of a lose-lose situation. To bring peace back to the world, they have to get rid of them from the Earth Kingdom to show that the Fire Nation is kind of on a new path. they're not going to stay with what Ozai kind of set in place with the colonies. But at the same time, these colonies are just regular families. They are not the kind of evil Fire Nation that we kind of saw from the show. So that is the big conflict of interest. What do they do about this? And I think this is where kind of United Republic will come into the story as a kind of resolution for where the kind of colonies will have to be put, where the kind of war refugees will have to be, and then kind of United Republic will that's where United Republic will come from, and it kind of expand from there to being like the biggest city in the world. And then we also got what the promise means in the story, and we saw the Zuko Ozai, the second half of their conversation that started in 321, and Ozai does not tell Zuko anything. I'm not sure if we've seen all the panels from that, so I'm not sure how much more, if there is any more that was mentioned. But he doesn't tell Zuko anything, and kind of he puts a kind of manipulates Zuko, puts it into his mind that being the Fire Lord is not an easy job. He kind of he continues the kind of manipulation of Zuko by telling him that like he has wisdom, he knows how to run the Fire Nation, he can help Zuko. Zuko doesn't want to know this, but then kind of Ozai uses the fact that he hasn't told Zuko about his mother yet, so like Zuko's gonna have to do something for Ozai to get him to kind of talk to him in fully. And then, as we see kind of like a year on and continuing on from that, Zuko feels that yes, being the Fire Lord will change him, so he asks this promise of Aang, which is the promise from the title, that if Zuko ever begins to become like Ozai, that Aang will end him, kill him. Aang reluctantly agrees to this, and then as we see the way he deals with the Fire Nation colonies kind of brings up this conflict again, the lose-lose situation I mentioned earlier on, how Zuko, he really has no kind of good course of action he can take in relation to this, so he is kind of being kind of a bit ruthless, but we know he's kind of good at heart. We know Iroh isn't around, so he doesn't have that kind of Wait, speaking of Iroh, actually, I presume that he's still back in bossing, say, in his tea shop, but he's not kind of assisting Zuko with running the Fire Nation, so he doesn't have that kind of like his emotional kind of rock that he had throughout the series to help him, so he's on his own sort of with Mai. And then we get further emphasis on how kind of stressful the job has been. He's had like, I think he mentions 5 attempts on his life already when he's been the Fire Lord. Mai brings in the Kyoshi warriors as guards for him with Suki and Ty Lee. I'm really sorry that this is completely disjointed, but the panels, the way they're organised now, are sort of disjointed. I'd have much more kind of clear thoughts if I like had the full book. That's why I'm kind of going all over the place in relation to like characters. Some people have been concerned with this way Zuko is, saying it's sort of out of character for him. They thought like he'd gotten over his kind of conflict of interest again, but like in my opinion, like as I mentioned before, the thing with Iroh, the stressful job, the seed planted by Ozai I mentioned earlier, the lose-lose situation, and also the fact that he does come from the his heritage of, he comes from one side Avatar, one side evil kind of Fire Lord. That's coming back again, and Zuko seems to be one of the kind of main focuses of this book. And in my opinion, it's perfectly in line with his character. It's also the fact that we have like pretty much half of 1/3 of the book, so 1/6 of the promised story in total. So anyone kind of jumping to conclusions about Zuko's an idiot again, think of it as sort of like looking at say the whole series of Avatar: The Last Airbender was leaked, and we saw for the most part that Zuko was good, but then we see the kind of the 220 Crossroads of Destiny scene where he kind of like betrays his uncle and stuff like that. That is kind of what this situation is like again. It's that oh my god Zuko, you're so stupid thing again. But look at the kind of bigger picture of what his character is and all the facts. I think it is perfectly within his character to be that way. The second thing we're going spoilers I'm going to come to is the Aang and Katara kind of relationship and their characters. I don't think anyone's really been complaining about the way Aang is portrayed, but they don't like the kind of Aang and Katara calling each other sweetie thing. But in my opinion, and this is kind of completely based off the show, the way they kind of acted around each other, and especially as we see at the end and at the start of this book, deals with the aftermath of that kiss in Ba Sing Se, and like they do kind of truly love each other. It may kind of come across as like a really sweet romance, but that's what it is. You know, they are not the kind of Twilight. There's some things that kind of Zutara fans expect. That sort of really kind of emotional, kind of weird romance. They are just kind of like, you know, in love. They call each other sweetie like that. And like for me, what makes it even kind of better is the kind of reaction that the other characters have to this. Like Sokka with the kind of oogies thing. Will he ever get over the fact that, you know, like he's going to see his sister and his kind of best friend kissing? Again, I really like the sweetie thing. I think the kind of modern world view of kind of like love romance thing is sort of kind of clouding people's kind of judgment on just how kind of sweet their romance is, because we know that the Avatar world is sort of kind of a more kind of a older kind of style of kind of romance, where like we know that at least in the Northern Water Tribe, the kind of girls have arranged marriages at 16, so the kind of emotional maturity in the Avatar world is kind of even more higher than it is kind of nowadays. So I like that. Regarding some people are saying Katara's out of kind of character, and I think it's been revealed now with some new pages that came out recently why Katara and Aang kind of had the fight with the Fire Nation soldiers in the capital. In that Zuko kind of beginning to become like his father because of all the things I mentioned before. He's kind of not allowed anyone into the Fire Nation who's got kind of authorized, and Aang and Katara kind of fly in, so the soldiers there start a fight with them. So I think that's not a problem anymore, really. Katara and Aang are kind of sort of like exactly like they were at the end of the show. Aang has like grown a lot over the kind of year and a bit as we catch up to him now, and you can definitely tell they've both of them have kind of matured more over this year too. Again, I know I'm not gonna kind of cover everything to do with the book because, you know, it is just a leak and the book hasn't fully come out yet. I will write a review for the site when the book comes out, and I'll probably talk about it on a video here, kind of like a video review of the book. But the last bit about the book I'm going to talk about is just you know, like I've been mainly positive about the book. Some people have been negative. My one negative thing would be we didn't see any Sokka really. So Sokka and Suki's relationship, and I'm not sure if we just haven't seen some of the panels where it is involved, but I would like to see what happened of that. Some of the characters that we're seeing again, we've seen the Freedom Fighters come back. We see Smellerbee, Longshot, and Sneers for the first time since the episode Jet, which is really interesting. Toph has started the metal bending school already to teach some earthbenders how to bend metal, and this kind of may be the start of where the kind of modernization of Republic City comes in that like they can easily manipulate metal now. And that's pretty much all my spoiler talk about the book. Next is going to be site news. So site news is going to come up in a minute, and the one last thing I want to say about The Promise is, you know, most of the book has been leaked out, but I urge anyone, if they're interested in this book, to like actually buy the book and support Avatar in the future. Because, you know, if this book is successful, the Lost Adventures has been really successful for Dark Horse. If these 3 books are successful, without fail, I think we will get more Avatar comics. Because we know that core is only 26 episodes, and we need kind of more story to continue. Can we really have another like 3 going on 4 years without kind of anything apart from the movie, which most people didn't like? And And again, if you've read the spoilers, I kind of urge you not to kind of overreact to anything you see in it, because, as I mentioned before, the spoilers are only like half of one of the three books. We know that Aang and Zuko together founded United Republic, so Zuko does not stay kind of like as he is, I believe. So now it's on to site news, and I'm gonna kind of restate some of the things I mentioned in the last video. Avatar Christmas Trivia 2. The sign up is now open, so please join the site. Sign up for Avatar Christmas Trivia. We already have 3 members signed up. I'm doing the questions, as I mentioned. 12 regular trivia questions and 12 kind of picture trivia questions. If there's one trivia you want to win every year, it is the Christmas trivia, because it is kind of like a big event on the site. Donna won it the first year, so it'd just be interesting, because I have a list of all the people who've won every trivia, and I always make a special note about the Christmas trivia, so definitely try and sign up for that. There should be some really difficult questions I'm coming up with, so it'll be a big test of kind of your Avatar knowledge. I remember the first year, anyway, I did 25 regular questions, and I think the high score was like 19 or 20 out of 25, so, these are difficult questions that I come up with. The second thing is Community Opinion 10. As I mentioned last week, it's gonna be like other people choosing a character for you to write about, and so far it's doing really well. We have the sign up will end on the 20th, so if you want to join in, please go onto the site and sign up for it before then. I think we have about 6 or 7 people signed up already, so I definitely want like 1 or 2 more, just to have a good range of characters discussed there. And finally, regarding my channel, as I mentioned before, I'm going to do video things where I'm on camera. You'll see like kind of a little bit of that at the end of this video, and also I'm going to continue on with the episode commentaries. I already have at this stage 15 of them recorded, so I have a kind of a good stream of them going. Again, really enjoying doing it. A lot more confident speaking on mic now. Especially kind of past episode 6, I kind of really got into a good role. Very few kind of pauses and talking, just straight through the episode. So that has been Avatar News Update 8. Thank you for watching, and I will definitely be getting these videos out like as soon as there is any more information. There's not really much more to say about The Promise, just pretty much wait for it to be released. I may talk if there's even more spoilers to come out, and other than that, it's just waiting for core news really, and as I said, the stuff on the site over Christmas. Please join in if you want.